Fractions. Fractions represent a part of a whole. Fractions are written in the division form using what is called a ratio. Now, ratios show us how much bigger or smaller one quantity is in relation to another. When I look at the two figures below, if I was asked to create a ratio that describes the colored region to the whole, I would count and I could see we had 5, and let's assume these are all equal in size. We have 5 regions that are shaded green and 6 in all. To the right, if these were all equal in size, we have 1 shaded in green and 4 in all. Most students do pretty well with that. Now, what's tricky for students is if I asked you to draw a figure that represents 5/4. Notice the two fractions up above, the top number called the numerator is smaller than the bottom number referred to as the denominator. Here's another example. The top number, the numerator, is smaller than the bottom number, the denominator, but in this case, it's not. Press pause and see if you can create a representation that describes this. I want to create a shape that has 4 equal pieces, so it'd be really easy for me to recreate this box. Now, how do I represent 5/4? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's even simplify that. The bottom tells us the total in the figure that I'm drawing. The top number tells us how many I actually need to shade in. Notice I shaded in 5 of the total 6 in this region. I shaded in 1 in the total of 4, but now I have 5/4. So I need to shade in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I have a 5th one. I've taken care of 4. I have a 5th one. So I need to recreate the exact same shape as my previous design on the left and shade 1 more. So here I have done 5/4. 5/4. We have 1 whole portion, and then the secondary region has 1/4 shaded. So this representation of a fraction is equivalent to this mixed number representation. 5/4, when the numerator is larger than the denominator, is what we call an improper fraction. Now, I just explained to you that 5/4 is equivalent or equal in value to this mixed number 1 and 1/4. Until you get into upper level mathematics, often during your junior year, in education, they like us to work on having students rewrite improper fractions in the form of a mixed number. Again, improper fraction is when we have a fraction or a ratio in which the top number is larger than the bottom number. So how do I rewrite this? What math is involved? You're going to use the long division you learned. And so that's what I'm going to show you in the remainder of this lesson. How do I transition now from an improper fraction into a mixed number? I'm going to use long division properties. When I do this, I'm going to write down my division house. The top number always goes inside. The bottom number always goes outside. Now, behind the top number, called the numerator, I'm going to put a decimal and a 0. So I'm going to cover up the decimal and the 0, and I'm going to ask myself, doing some mental math, can 4 fit into 5? It can. And then I ask myself, how many groups of 4 can fit into 5 without going over? Only one group of 4. If I did 2 groups, I'd end up with 8, and it would surpass a value of 5. So one group of 4 can fit in. And now after I choose this number, now I'm going to write down little notes for myself. Choose number, or choose the value. I'm not sure how they teach it in elementary school, but I'm going to just try to simplify this process for you. So once you are able to select this value up front, choose number, now we are going to multiply. So I'm going to take whatever value is on top and multiply it by the outside. 1 times 4 is 4. Step number 3, I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to subtract these two. 5 subtract 4 gives me a remainder of 1. Step 4, I'm going to bring down the next number. So here we have a 0. I need to place that little 0 up top here. So I'm bringing down 0, and I'm going to show you how mixed numbers can also be represented in decimal form as well. So I should stop here for 1 second, and I'm going to transition this into a mixed number and then show you how it's also equivalent in the form of a decimal. So how do we end up with that 1 1/4? Once I've got to the decimal place, this is my large number on top. It's a whole. So this is equal to, or called equivalent to, 1. Now what do I have remaining? I always tell my students to go clockwise. So you're going to go from the whole number and you're going to grab the 1. That's your numerator of the mixed number. And then just keep coming around like a clock. Grab this outside value, which was the denominator. And this is how we have 5/4 being equivalent to 1 1/4. I'm going to rewrite this again for you to recognize. I'm going to put all these steps in really quickly that I just went over. Okay, so I got to that form. We ended up with 1 1/4, but I also want to show you how it's equivalent to a decimal form. Okay, so this decimal is going to come right up here. I bring down the next number. This is a 0, and then I ask myself the same questions going down in this order. Choose a number. Okay, how many times can 4 fit into 10? Okay, one group of 4 is 4. Two groups of 4 is 8. 3 groups of 4 would be 12, and that would exceed or go beyond a value of 10. So only 2 groups can fit into 10 without going over. 2. I've chose the number. Now I'm going to multiply it by the outside. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, I did that. Now I'm going to subtract down. Okay, I did that. Okay, and it says bring down the next number, but I'm like, there's no number. There's no extra. Okay, I take down a 0. And I bring down that 0. How many groups of 4 can fit into 20? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Oh, exactly 5. Exactly 5 groups fit in. Okay, I've chose the number up top. I'm going to multiply by the outside. 5 times 4 is 20. Did that. I'm going to subtract down. 20 subtract 20 is 0. And I don't have to worry about bringing down another number. We can see here I have no remainder. So I want you to recognize that 5/4, an improper fraction, is equivalent to the mixed number 1 1/4, and that's equivalent in decimal form to 1.25. 9/5. It's an improper fraction because the numerator is larger than the denominator. I'm going to start by rewriting this in mixed number form using long division. The top number always goes inside. The bottom number, known as the denominator, goes on the outside. I'm asking myself, how many groups of 5 fit into 9? Okay, only one group fits in, because if I have 2 groups of 5, I'd have 10, and I can't exceed that inside number. Again, I'm going to write down the steps really quickly. First, I'm going to choose the number that goes up top, then I'm going to abbreviate, then I'm going to multiply, then I'm going to subtract, and when necessary, I will bring down the next value. Okay, here we go. So, once I have chosen a number, I'm going to multiply by the outside. 1 times 5 is 5. I'm subtracting. 9 minus 5 is 4. Okay, good. I'm ready to rewrite this in mixed number form. Remember, it's going to be like a clock. You're starting up top. At 12 o'clock, you're going to go all the way around. This is your whole number. Scooping around, this is the numerator of the portion of the mixed number, and this is the denominator. There we go. Okay, I'm going to come back here, and I'm now going to rewrite this as an equivalent decimal form. Okay, so we know 5 goes into 9 one time without going over. 1 times 5, I'm multiplying, is 5. I'm going to subtract to end up with 4. And now, this is where I stop. What do I do next? Okay, that's when we're going to put this decimal and a 0. Always a 0 behind. So I'm ready to bring down that first 0. How many groups of 5 fit into 40 without going over? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 8 groups. 8 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Okay, I chose the number and I multiplied. Now I'm going to subtract. 40 minus 40 is 0, and I'm left with 0. When your remainder, this is your remainder, when your remainder is 0, you get to stop. So this is equivalent to 1.8. These are all equivalent forms, Now, a lot of students don't like fractions because they can't visualize what it means. So let's just go back for a second and talk about what is 9/5. What is 1 4/5? What is 1.8, right? Okay, I'm going to start this time by drawing a circle. And by this point, you can see that I'm not very neat and I'm not the best drawer. Now, if I could, let's try to draw, they're called sectors. They look like slices of pizza. Let's see if I can draw 5 pieces of pizza or 5 sectors within each circle. Once again, let me reiterate, I'm fairly sloppy with my work, so I apologize. We're going to be right now take time just to represent what this looks like. I'm a visual learner, and if you are, hopefully this helps you connect to the improper fraction or the mixed number, or even how to connect to the equivalent decimal form. Okay, so you're ready? I need to have 5 equal pieces within my figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hopefully they are equal in size. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal in size. Great. And then I need to shade 9 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's representation of the improper fraction, 9/5. Here, shade 1 whole piece that contains 5 equal pieces. 5 equal pieces, shade 1 whole piece, I did that, and the second one, shade 4/5 of the second. I did that. In this form, as you get into upper level mathematics, this is going to say shade 100% of my first piece, and we're going to shade 80% of my second piece. Okay, and I know we haven't got to the whole 80%. We know that's more than half, less than a whole, but hopefully this helps you connect. In the final examples, we're just going to practice a few more problems like you're going to see as you go through 1 through 20. Okay, here's the very first one. Let's go ahead and let's do 11/3. Improper fraction, numerator is greater than the denominator. Let's go ahead and put this into a form of a mixed number. Okay, top number goes on the inside, bottom number, the denominator, goes on the outside. Okay, I'm going to be even briefer here. We're going to say choose number, multiply, divide, okay, and then bring down. I keep spelling that wrong. Okay, here we go. 3 cannot fit into 1. Right? 3 is larger than 1. It can't do it. 3 can fit into 11. How many times can 3 fit into 11 without going over? I've got to count. 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh, 12 would be over, so we can go in 3 times. So above the last digit in 11, I'm going to write 3. I chose my number, and now I'm going to multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. I line it up with the last number, and then it's going to subtract. 11 subtract 9 is 2. I'm timed now to write this as a mixed number. Here's my whole, and here's that fraction. 11/3 is equivalent to 3 2/3. Let's look at another one. 17/4. 17/4. It is an improper fraction. 17 is going to go on the inside because it's the top number. The bottom number would be a value of 4. 4 does not fit into 1. 4 can fit into 17. Not evenly, but we can see how many times does it fit in without going over. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Well, we can't go over 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I line it up with the last digit in the value 17. Done. I'm going to multiply. 4 times 4 is 16. Done. And now I was supposed to write subtract here. I never caught that I wrote down divide. My fault. And now I'm going to subtract. 17 minus 16 is 1. And now here's our mixed number 4 and 1/4. Always going around clockwise. Okay, let's just try 2 more before it's your turn to practice. 8 over 4. 8 over 4. Assuming you haven't learned how to reduce ratios or reduce or simplify fractions, we're going to do the exact same steps. Top number goes on the inside of this improper fraction as we now transfer it to an equivalent mixed number. The bottom number is 4, the denominator is 4, and we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 fit into 8 without going over? 4, 8, twice, exactly twice. I chose the value, I multiply, I subtract. Now, there is nothing wrong with you writing this as 2, that's your whole portion, and then 0 over 4, 0 over 4. Nothing wrong with it at all. You could also simply write it as just 2. Okay, let's see if I have room here. I'm going to pick this up right there. All right, let's see if I have room for one more here. All right, last example in this video. We have an improper fraction. The numerator has the larger value and the smaller value is found in the denominator. And so I'm going to start by writing 5 here on the inside, numerator goes on the inside, and denominator goes on the outside. And so I'm working to rewrite it in an equivalent or equal form that is now represented as a mixed number. 1, how many times does 1 fit into 5? 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, after I choose the number, I'm going to multiply to the outside. 5 times 1 is 5, and then I subtract to end up with 0. So again, we're welcome to write this as here's our whole number, and then the fraction in the mixed number would be 0 over 1. Excuse me, 0 over 1. As you get into upper level math, we will know that this is just equivalent to simply 5. But this would be great at your level to recognize. Okay, you are now going to try 1 through 20.